Coming up on tonight's programme, it's left thousands of people out of pocket. We hear from the civil servants at the heart of the Capita pensions crisis. Back from Venezuela, Dundee firefighters tell us of their search for survivors after 2 earthquakes left more than 900 people dead there last month. He's painted Team GB at the Olympics and is gearing up for his role as artist in residence at this month's Commonwealth Games. Impressionist Ben Mosley makes a splash. And of course, we have all of the sport for you tonight with Paul. Paul, what's in the cards?
Well, what a weekend prospect in East Lothian, where the world's best golfers are teeing up at the Scottish Open. We'll preview the action from the Renaissance Club.
Look forward to it. Hello, I'm Sarah McMillan. Welcome to the News at 7. OK, let's start this evening by looking at some of today's main stories. Reform UK's Scottish leader has claimed Nigel Farage as the victim of an establishment stitch-up after his political rivals refused to contest a by-election triggered by his resignation from Westminster. Malcolm Offord also insisted that Farage, who's being investigated over an undeclared £5 million gift from a billionaire, has done nothing wrong. Elsewhere, emissions from the controversial Jackdaw gas field in the North Sea will not materially influence global warming. That's according to a new report from its owner. Adura's updated environmental impact assessment said the project would account for less than 0.02% of annual global greenhouse gases during its lifetime. A drunk driver who lost control of his car and killed his teenage passenger Erin Slane after speeding at 119 miles per hour has been jailed for 8 years. 23-year-old Kyle Patrick pled guilty to causing death and serious injury by driving dangerously in Perth City Centre in September in 2024. And one of Scotland's most unusual forests is set to appear on cinema screens this month in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Culbin Forest on the Murray-Firth coast was among one of the sites where filming of a battle between warriors and giants took place last year. Well, for more information on all of these stories, you know that you can scan that QR code there. That takes you to the BBC Scotland News app, and there is so much more there and waiting for you. OK, well, it's back to our main story this evening now. Throughout your working life, you often think what you'll do when you get to retire. Well, thousands of civil servants who have retired are still waiting for their pension months after they were entitled to it, leaving them in financial limbo and uncertainty. Capita manages the pensions of 1.7 million public sector workers and took over the scheme 3 years ago. Today, bosses at the firm face questions from MPs. Well, earlier I spoke to Kirsteen Allen, who applied in September to retire in January. She'd worked for ACAS for 4 decades. 7 months on, she's still waiting.
The reality of the situation was by December I still had no figures through and I became quite anxious, so I phoned Capita, who took over the Pensions Administration, and after being in a queue for 5 hours 40 minutes through to a lovely call handler, I explained that I was getting very anxious and my circumstances, which were I was on my own. I hadn't yet reached state pension age and I wouldn't for a few months, and obviously I was due to lose my income when I retired, and I felt that without my pension my finances would be a bit precarious. So she agreed with me and she was going to escalate matters. So I came off the phone naively believing that things would be in place for me retiring on the 30th of January. I phoned all through January and nobody could give me any information. On the 14th of February, Capita called me to say my paperwork was with the quotes team, they were working on it and I'd have a quote within 4 weeks, so I was ecstatic. That didn't happen, so through March and April I called and was just being told the cases had been dealt with in case order, which fair enough. I called in May and basically told, don't call us, we'll call you, you'll get your quote. So on the 26th of June, I called Capita yet again to find out was my quote in the post, because I'm on a pension support group on social media, and people are beginning to receive quotes for further forward in the year who haven't retired. People retiring after me are receiving their pensions. So I asked, how can this be, when I was told my quote wasn't in the post, and he said they've now set up separate sections, they're not working in date order, and they're working to their own criteria. So I said, what's the criteria? Couldn't tell me.
And Kirstine, as you said, you know, everyone looks forward to their retirement. It's something you sort of daydream about, isn't it? The day that you get there and what you're going to do and how you're going to spend your time. How do you feel to be in this situation? You know, what has it meant for your sort of day-to-day life?
I'm very anxious. I feel it's all I talk about. I think friends and family must be sick of listening to me moaning about it. I feel completely powerless. There is nothing I can do, or any of the others. People have gone to their MPs, the Ombudsman. There is no action I can take that will influence the outcome of this. I feel completely powerless, and it's not a nice feeling.
And you had to take out a hardship loan as well, didn't you, to sort of tide you over in that period of time. What was that like?
Well, I wish they wouldn't call it hardship loan. It should really be called an advance. It's our money. Civil servants pay in month after month, year after year, to be able to take the payment when it's properly payable. So my employer, the government, set up a situation where your employer would give you a hardship loan. So I've had £5,000 of a hardship loan, which has certainly tided me over.
But as we're speaking today, Kirstine, are you any further forward in understanding when you might get your lump sum, or when your civil service pension payments might start?
No, I have no indication of when I will even receive a quotation for that. They're saying now they're hoping to get the quotes out within the next 6 weeks, except for the complex cases. I suspect I might have a complex case. I've reduced my hours many times over the last 10 years, so it might not just be a straight AI calculation, so I have no idea.
And just lastly then, Kirstine, can I ask you, how are you feeling about your future at the moment?
Anxious. Anxious. Nothing else I can say, really.
A huge thanks again to Kirstine for coming in to speak with me earlier. Well, bosses at Capita were quizzed for the first time today by MPs over the huge pensions backlog and how the firm plans to resolve the lengthy delays. The CEO of the company has apologised to the thousands of civil servants who can't access their pensions.
I'm responsible to making sure this gets delivered. I'm responsible for its failure today, but I'm also responsible to marshal the resources, the budget, the overspend, the people, the talent, the operational efficiency, and trying to expedite every single thing that we have to do in Capita to ensure that Chris and Richard and their teams can fly as fast as we possibly can, so that we can restore this service to the level of quality that members deserve.
But how did things get here? Jonathan Saphir is from the Civil Service Pensioners Alliance, and I asked him to explain the background to me.
Capita took over from the previous pension scheme administrator, MyCSP, after they were awarded the contract in 2023, in November 23, and there was a 2-year transition period, which took them up to 2025, the 1st of December. There had been issues with the MyCSP administration, but subsequently, when Capita took over, the backlog that was existing increased dramatically. And then from January, late January, early February 2026, the Cabinet Office sent in a surge team, which was headed by Angela MacDonald from HMRC, to try and improve the service. And there were signs that it was starting to. However, come April, when deadlines had been set for a resumption of general service, that deadline had been missed, and further deadlines of the end of June, which Capita had been set, were also missed. So we're currently seeing outstanding cases of around 6,700 pension quotes are outstanding, and there are also 4,500 bereavement cases, which are also outstanding, which could be processed and have not been.
And Jonathan, Capita are saying they hope to have the majority of these cases resolved by September. Are you hopeful that will be the case?
I think it's very much a case of we've heard promises before, and that we, as organisations like CSPA, working in line with members of Parliament as well, need to really keep up the pressure to make sure that Capita, alongside the Cabinet Office and the Surge team, keep up the pressure to make sure that all of these cases are resolved.
And Jonathan, we spoke to a woman earlier who's still waiting on her civil service pension. She has no idea of when she might begin to receive it. What advice would you give to people who are going through this at the moment?
I would give the advice of making sure that you write down and note every interaction that you have with Capita, write down every piece of documentation that you send to Capita, so that you have a clear record that if you do in the future need to put in a formal complaint and then take that complaint on to the second stage and to potentially to the Pensions Ombudsman, that you have a clear record. Besides that, I would write to your MP, or there are other organisations that you could potentially join who can advocate on your behalf as well.
OK, Jonathan Saphir, thank you so much for talking us through that this evening on Reporting Scotland News at 7.
Thank you.
Now, it was deemed one of the worst cases of child abuse in Scotland. In 2025, 7 people were given life sentences and warned they may never be released from prison after they subjected 3 victims under the age of 13 to horrific sexual abuse and violence in a Glasgow drug den for 7 years. Following their conviction and sentencing, a multi-agency review found social services failed to step in and protect the children, and the agencies involved accepted that opportunities to intervene were missed. Well, a Glasgow MP has written to the Scottish Government, now calling for a public inquiry.
Does my right honourable friend agree with me that the Council must accept robust, independent scrutiny of what has happened and independent scrutiny of the implementation of improvements?
Well, Mr. Speaker, this case involves horrific offences against vulnerable children. I know all members of this House will join me in paying tribute to the victims who've shown remarkable bravery in coming forwards. It's evident that these children were dreadfully failed, and Glasgow City Council must urgently act on the recommendations of this review. I know my honourable friend has written to the Scottish Government to request an independent inquiry. The SNP should consider this request with the gravity that it deserves.
Well, that was John Grady speaking in the Commons earlier at Prime Minister's Questions. I asked him about that exchange.
I'm calling for independent scrutiny of 3 things. What has happened, the implementation of the Judith Tate report recommendations, and independent scrutiny of the audit into child protection cases in Glasgow City Council.
And Mr Grady, there has been a multi-agency assessment of what went wrong in this case. It's identified systemic failures. How would a public inquiry differ from that?
Well, it would differ in a number of ways, but the key way is that a public inquiry is fully independent, led by an independent inquiry chair, and it has the power to require people to give evidence to it, be it documentary or also oral and witness evidence. And that's very, very important. But the key thing is it's independent.
And Mr Grady, we know that public inquiries are costly. They take a long time to begin and a long time to conclude. Here in Scotland, there's already a backlog of public inquiries. Is this the right course of action? Or, could more immediate action be taken now to address these failures and help children, as opposed to waiting for a public inquiry to begin?
Well, on that, I think we could implement much more swiftly a mechanism to supervise the implementation of Judith Tate's recommendations. We could implement much more swiftly independent scrutiny of the ongoing audit into child protection cases. Just an independent mechanism with an independent panel. But on the public inquiry point, I think
can I just ask, what do you mean by an independent mechanism?
Well, you could appoint a panel of people to oversee independently how these exercises are carrying on.
And just lastly then, Mr Grady, do you think we know the full extent of these failings and how they should be addressed?
Well, I don't think we can be confident about that, and that is because a number of people did not work with that first inquiry, and also the inquiry was limited in scope, and that's not a criticism of the inquiry, it's just the nature of the inquiry that's been carried out. So I don't think we can say that, and that is a problem. We need to be absolutely confident that we've got to the bottom of what has gone wrong here.
Who was omitted from that initial review that would be included in a public inquiry?
Well, that would be for the inquiry chair, but it's clear.
But you've said there were people who were absent from that initial review. So who would you like to see included? You are right, and frontline staff involved in this issue declined to work with that inquiry. John Grady speaking to me earlier. Well, in response, the Scottish Government says that work is currently underway with Glasgow City Council, Social Work Scotland, Police Scotland and the Crown Office to ensure that all lessons are learned from this highly distressing case. Now, 3 firefighters from Scotland who were deployed to Venezuela after the devastating earthquake there have spoken about their experiences. They were among a team from the UK using specialist equipment to search collapsed buildings for survivors. Our reporter Louise Hosey was in Dundee today to hear their story.
These firefighters are now back in Scotland after 10 days in Venezuela, helping people affected by the devastating earthquake. The men were part of a 68-strong team from the UK using specialist equipment and dogs to search rubble for survivors.
So there was a collapsed building about 3 or 4 miles from the airport that we were at, and we got sent to search that. So it's got assessment, search and rescue techniques. This was at level 2, where we would take the dogs and the listening equipment to try and ascertain whether or not there was savable life within that collapse.
The firefighters didn't manage to find anyone alive, but their work helped teams who did.
My team, we didn't unfortunately get that glorious shot of pulling someone out of a building, but what we did do is we triaged so many buildings that we narrowed that search down, that effectively helped other teams get that rescue that we've all been striving for.
The men say they received a warm welcome from the Venezuelans despite such difficult circumstances. Now they're home, they have had time to reflect on the experience, including moments of humanity amidst the horror. Louise Hosey, reporting Scotland, Dundee.
Well, still to come, we'll have a full weather forecast for you with Christopher, and we meet the Commonwealth Games artist in residence. But before all of that, let's get your sport now with Paul.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello there. Some of the biggest names in golf are set to tee off at the Scottish Open tomorrow. And Rory McIlroy believes the Renaissance Club event is the blueprint for national competitions. World number 1 Scotty Scheffler is chasing his first win on Scottish soil, but home favourite and former champion Robert McIntyre says he has no expectations going into North Berwick. The event is co-sanctioned between the PGA Tour and DP World Tour, meaning 15 of the world's top 20 are in attendance, and Masters champion McIlroy believes it's the perfect preparation for the Open Championship at Royal Birkdale next week.
I think since this event has been co-sanctioned, it really has went from strength to strength. You look at the quality of the field this week, you get a great sponsor like Genesis on board. They've kept making improvements to the golf course and the facilities each and every year. So I think for like these strong national opens, this to me is the blueprint of what it can be and what can happen. It's a perfect lead into the Open Championship.
Yeah, I've not got really any expectation, Bri, to be honest. I try not to have any. I just go and play golf, and I think the expectation comes after a round or two, and you're like, right, I'm right in the mixer here and stuff. But I don't really worry too much about what's to come. I try and just play the golf and let it come to me.
I didn't come over here just for some open prep. I'm here to play a golf tournament and to play well. And being here in the home of golf, we have great fans over here. Always get really good support. And I don't think I've played in the final group here yet, and so it'd be nice to kind of get up there near the lead and experience that as well.
Yeah, the stars are certainly in town. Well, earlier I spoke to Michael McEwen from Bunkered Magazine and started by asking him just how big a deal the Scottish Open is in the golf calendar.
It's absolutely massive. I would go so far as to say it could be considered the 5th major for golf. It's an event that's grown in stature as well in recent years. Obviously, the PGA Tour has come on board as a co-sanctioning partner for the event, so it shares responsibilities for delivering with the DP World Tour. As a consequence, everything around here feels just that much elevated, particularly the field. You've got one of the greatest fields in golf. It's known to assemble at any point this year here in East Lothian. So the stage is set for a very exciting few days. I'm really excited, I'm up for it, and I just hope this wonderful weather holds out for 4 more days.
It looks magnificent. It's a picture postcard scene behind you there, Michael. What does it mean for Scottish golf that we are hosting a tournament of such prestige that you've described in your own words as like a 5th major?
It's absolutely everything. I mean, you know, Scotland is the home of golf. It's a line that we like to repeat very often in the Scottish golf media circles, but this is where the game originated, so it's only appropriate that our National Open should be one of the most anticipated events on the schedule. It undoubtedly is. There's a palpable sense of excitement amongst the players who've assembled here already. Scotty Scheffler saying earlier today how he wishes that they could play events like this more often. The players are excited, the fans that I've seen out there today are hugely excited. As I said, the excitement is palpable. I think people are really looking forward to the potential of 4 brilliant days of golf.
And as for the home prospects, Michael, we had Robert McIntyre from Oban winning 2 years ago. He's in the field again, as are a few other Scots. What are the chances of a Scottish winner this week, do you think?
Well, I think you've identified the most likely candidate. Bob is not just Scotland's #1 golfer, he is one of the best golfers on the planet. He has got very comfortable in that stage over the last few years, and like you said, he won this event 2 years ago. Let's not forget the year before that he came oh so close to winning it, then only to be pipped at the post by an inspired Rory McIlroy. You know, when you're forcing Rory McIlroy to produce the type of shots under pressure deep into the tournament that Bob did, that shows a level of comfort with the golf course. So it's clearly a place that he likes. He thrives on the home support. He is developing into a bit of a showman as Bob. So when you look at the Scots that are in the field, yeah, I think he's the most likely one to compete and contend for the title this week. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he went and did it.
That was Michael McEwen from Bunkered Magazine. Well, it was also Pro-Am Day at the Renaissance, which saw some familiar faces teeing it up alongside the professionals, including the likes of Ryan Christie and Sir Kenny Dalglish. Scotland great Dalglish was in a group alongside Shane Lowry and Tyrrell Hatton, as well as former Celtic captain Scott Brown. And Christie, who's just back from the World Cup. The Bournemouth midfielder has been reflecting on his time in North America and says he's desperate to play in more international tournaments.
Well, after you're finished with it, you just feel kind of mentally drained, so you do need the break. It was amazing. Looking back now, I think what an amazing experience it was. Obviously, amazing experience. Desperate now to go to more tournaments.
There is, as ever, plenty more on the BBC Sport app, including reaction to an incredible win for British wildcard Arthur Ferry in the quarter-finals of Wimbledon. Yeah, he beat Flavio Caboli, the French Open finalist, in straight sets. Magnificent performance from the wildcard.
Quite a game, Paul. And you know, World Cup, Wimbledon, and now the Open. I don't think I'll ever get to watch my own television this weekend, but thank you very much. Staying with sport somewhat, because the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow are just around the corner. Today, a special artwork to mark the occasion was revealed at the City's Gallery of Modern Art, and it's by Ben Mosley, the Commonwealth Games artist in residence. It features both iconic Glasgow landmarks and a range of sports too. He also held a painting class for young people from Glasgow Children's Hospital charity at the unveiling.
It's a celebration of Glasgow as a city and also all the sports that are taking place during the games. You've got the Finnieston Crane, you've got the Armadillo Bridge, you've got the Duke of Wellington statue, Tenement and Macintosh architecture and the Clyde Art Bridge, and then a boat at the front because obviously there's a strong ship making culture in Glasgow and it's got Glasgow 26 on there. And I've used a lot of 24 karat gold to go through the painting. I think Glasgow is a fantastic world-class city, so obviously gold as well is synonymous with winning, and I think you obviously got a winning city and athletes competing to win but also doing their best in their chosen sport, so I wanted to create something that reflects that. I think the 24 karat gold gives it a good link, a good synergy. The painting is going to help raise money for the Commonwealth Sports Foundation, be auctioned off. Hopefully somebody will get a unique piece of history that's hopefully the painting will represent a brilliant two and a half weeks as we go through the games. Every kid's an artist, and I think, you know, I just want them to have fun, express themselves, and hopefully they can take my painting as inspiration. They're from Glasgow, so hopefully they'll know the city. And I just want them to have fun, really. I think kids just need to express themselves when it comes to art, and not be guided too much, just express themselves, enjoy it, and choose which parts of the painting they like and make it their own, really.
I just love it. All the cane. I like it because it's kind of like graffiti, but then it's also like they're all like squished in painted.
I love sport because I'm really passionate about what I paint, and I think if you're passionate about something, then it will always come through in your work, and the atmosphere, the camaraderie of it, how sport brings people together. And I concentrate on getting those emotions and sort of depicting that through my painting.
Some lovely pictures there. OK, time to take a look at the weather forecast. And summer's deciding to make an appearance.
Yes, and
Hallelujah.
It's going to hang around, actually.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, thank you very much indeed, Sarah. Some lovely pictures, as ever, from our weather watchers. Thanks for sending them in. Lots of blue sky around today. Great picture there from St Andrews in Fife. Bit of cloud in Shetland, I know, but many areas had bright, sunny and warm weather. How warm, I hear you ask? Let me tell you, 29 degrees in Aboyne in Aberdeenshire, but many parts of the country reaching the mid to high 20s. So what a difference compared with the start of the week. It's all thanks to high pressure, which is sticking with us as we head through the next few days. But we've got this weather front here trapped within it, and that's going to be a bit of a fly in the ointment with some cloud and for some a little bit of rain, but for many dry. This is the picture first thing tomorrow. We've got some low cloud towards the Solway, perhaps inland as well. Elsewhere, though, it's a dry, bright, sunny start to the day. 17 degrees there at 8 a.m. for Edinburgh. Through the Highlands and Islands, cloudier conditions and breezier, and same too across Orkney and Shetland. Now, through the course of the day tomorrow, we'll hold on to that cloud with a few showers at times. The low cloud in the south tending to burn off, and then many areas having an afternoon similar to today with dry, bright, sunny conditions, and for some temperatures reaching the mid to maybe high 20s. And then further into the week, this is Friday now, the high pressure sticking with us, the weather front sticking with us, and that's going to bring some cloud and some outbreaks of rain to the West Highlands, perhaps the Hebrides as well. Elsewhere though, bright and sunny and some strong July sunshine once again, lifting temperatures at least across southern parts into the high 20s. Elsewhere, very pleasant low to mid 20s, but under the cloud and rain it will be cooler, and that wet weather could turn thundery for a little while. To the weekend, high pressure sticking with us. In fact, it's sticking with us beyond the weekend into next week too. But the weekend is a tale of two halves. On Saturday, cloudy with some showers across parts of Grampian. Those should clear. Many areas here in Scotland, cloudy. South of the border, more the same, sunny and hot. On Sunday here in Scotland, it's brighter and it's warmer. That cloud with us first thing, but tending to burn off into the afternoon. And you can see after the weekend, the blip on Saturday, the high pressure sticking with us, the sunshine sticking with us, and temperatures pleasant for the time of year. That's the forecast for now.
So the sunshine is going to stick around for more than one day this time?
Until at least this time next week, if not longer.
I'll take your word for it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us tonight. That's all from us here on the News at 7. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.